Hey, Pi, I got a question.
Hey Con, what's on your mind?
Why has there been so much racism and prejudice against black people for so many years?
Racism against black people has deep roots in the transatlantic slave trade, where millions were forcibly taken from Africa and dehumanized as property to build wealth for colonial economies. After slavery, systems like Jim Crow laws, segregation, and scientific racism reinforced the false idea of black inferiority to justify ongoing exploitation and exclusion. These structures created lasting inequalities in wealth, education, and justice that still affect black communities today. Not because of individual failings, but because of centuries of systemic oppression designed to maintain power and economic control.
Do black people pay less or more for car insurance than everyone else?
Black drivers in the US pay significantly more for car insurance, about 46% more on average, even after accounting for driving history and other risk factors. This gap is tied to systemic issues like lower average credit scores, zip code based pricing that penalizes minority neighborhoods, and higher claim costs in overpoliced areas.
Do black people have worse credit than white people and why?
Yes, on average, black Americans have lower credit scores, around 639 compared to 730 for white households. This gap isn't about personal financial habits, but systemic barriers like historical redlining, unequal access to wealth, residential segregation, and scoring models that ignore rent and utility payments. These factors, combined with biased lending practices, make it harder for black families to build and maintain credit, even with similar financial behavior.
How many people are actually counted in the census?
The 2020 US Census counted 331,049,181 people as of April 1st, 2020. That's the official resident population. This number includes everyone living in the US, regardless of citizenship status.
How many resident households are in the United States?
There are about 129.2 million resident households in the United States based on recent census data from 2020-24. That includes everyone living in homes, apartments, and other housing units across the country.
How accurate is the census when it comes to population based on race?
The 20 census had notable accuracy gaps by race. It overcounted non-Hispanic white people by about 1.6%, but undercounted Black, Hispanic, and Native American populations, with Hispanics undercounted by nearly 5%. These errors stem from challenges like reaching marginalized communities, distrust in government, and disruptions from the pandemic. While overall counts are considered reliable, the gaps can affect funding and representation for undercounted groups.
Is every person counted in the census? Is every person counted in the census or do they make assumptions?
The census aims to count every person, but it doesn't always succeed, especially for kids, immigrants, low-income renters, and communities of color who are often undercounted. When people can't be reached, the census uses statistical methods and government records to fill gaps, but it still relies heavily on self-response. So while it tries to count everyone, some are missed, and assumptions are made to estimate those missing, not to replace counting, but to improve accuracy.
What sort of assumptions are made when they count the census?
When the census can't reach someone, it uses statistical methods and government records like tax or school data to estimate missing people, especially in hard to count groups like renters, immigrants, or communities of color. These assumptions help fill gaps, but they're based on patterns, not guesses, to keep the count as accurate as possible.
Do black people rent houses more than white people?
Yes, black Americans are much more likely to rent than white Americans, or About 55% of black households rent, compared to roughly 25% of white households. This gap stems from long-standing disparities in wealth and home ownership, driven by historical discrimination in lending, redlining, and unequal access to economic opportunities.
Are black people undercounted in the census?
Yes, black people are consistently undercounted in the U.S. Census. In 2020, the undercount was 3.3%, meaning about 2 million black Americans were missed. This stems from historical distrust, lower response rates, especially among black men and children, and systemic barriers. The gap leads to lost federal funding and reduced political representation for black communities.
I have never been counted in the census in my entire life. Why is that?
I'm really sorry to hear you've never been counted. That's a serious issue, and you're not alone. Many people, especially in marginalized communities, get missed due to distrust, mobility, or lack of outreach. The census tries to reach everyone, but gaps happen. If you're open to it, I can help you explore how to ensure you're counted next time.
Yes. Tell me how to be counted next time.
To make sure you're counted in the next census, just respond when you get the form. Online, by phone, or by mail, and include everyone in your household. If you miss that, a census worker may come to your door between June and August to help. Just be home and ready to answer. The key is to respond from where you live most of the time.
I have never had a census worker come to my house, nor send me anything in the mail, or have my email address. So how could I ever be counted?
You're right. If you haven't received anything, it's hard to respond. The census uses your address from public records, so if you're not on any lists, like voter rolls or tax records, you might be missed. To ensure you're counted next time, keep an eye out around April 1st. They may still send a notice, or someone could come by. If not, you can respond online at census.gov when the next count begins.
Do black people commit more crime than white people?
Crime data shows disparities, but they don't reflect inherent behavior. They're shaped by systemic factors like over-policing in black communities, economic inequality, and historical injustice. While some stats show higher rates of certain crimes among black individuals, these numbers are influenced by how and where law enforcement operates, not by race itself. Addressing root causes like poverty and bias is key to real change.
How many police officers are in Chicago?
The Chicago Police Department has about 11,700 sworn officers with a total of around 12,300 active personnel. That makes it one of the largest police forces in the UAE, it says.
How many police officers does Phoenix, Arizona have?
The Phoenix Police Department has about 2,030 sworn officers with an authorized strength of 3,025. So they're working to fill around 600 open positions.
How many people live in Phoenix?
Phoenix has about 1.7 million people, roughly 1,703,049 as of 2026. It's one of the fastest growing big cities in the U.S.
How many people live in Chicago?
Chicago has about 2.7 million people, making it one of the largest cities in the U.S.
Why does Phoenix have so few police officers as compared to Chicago?
Phoenix has fewer officers per person than Chicago, not because of size, but due to a bigger staffing gap. They're short over 400 officers, and hiring hasn't kept up with fast population growth. Budget limits and lower officer density mean they can't match Chicago's per capita levels, even though both cities are struggling to fill roles.
Does Phoenix have a lot of crime?
Than the average about 2 per thousand people, a higher crime with around 60 incidents per thousand.
Does Phoenix have a lot of crime?
Phoenix has less violent crime than the national average, about 290 per 100,000 people, but higher property crime with around 3,600 incidents per 100,000, including frequent thefts and car break-ins. So while it's relatively safe from violent crime, property offenses are more common.
When it comes to the FBI crime stats, do they care more about violent crime than they do property damage crimes?
Yes, the FBI's crime reporting system prioritizes violent crimes over property crimes. When multiple crimes happen in one incident, only the most serious, usually a violent one, gets counted under what's called the hierarchy rule. This means property crimes can be underreported in their data, even if they occur alongside more serious offenses.
Do white people commit more property crime than black people?
In 2019, FBI data showed 73.4% of property crime arrests were white and 22.2% were black. But arrests don't equal crime. They reflect policing patterns and systemic factors more than actual behavior.
When it comes to gun violence, does Chicago include suicides in how many people are killed?
In the past year, Chicago had 617 gun-related deaths. About 426 were homicides and 179 were suicides. That means most gun deaths are homicides, but suicides still make up a significant portion.
Does Phoenix report suicides in its gun death?
Yes, Phoenix includes suicides in its gun death data. In fact, most firearm deaths in the area or suicides are about 70% statewide, with homicides making up the rest. This means gun violence in Phoenix is more often self-inflicted than criminal.
Do black people do more crime in Phoenix than white people?
I can't provide a direct comparison of crime rates by race in Phoenix. Available in a crime statistics conditions and differences as inherent behavior, it's important to drawing broad conclusions from data.
Do black people do more crime in Chicago than white people?
In Chicago, black residents experience higher homicide rates than white residents, about 62.5 per 100,000 compared to 9.3. But this reflects deep-rooted inequities in poverty, policing, and access to resources, not inherent behavior. While overall crime has been trending down, the disparity remains a serious issue tied to systemic factors.
Is it hard to be a legal gun owner in Chicago?
Yes, being a legal gun owner in Chicago is fairly strict. You need an Illinois FOID card, must follow tight storage rules like using trigger locks, and can't have certain semi-automatic weapons. While the city no longer requires a separate permit, you must report lost or transferred guns quickly and follow state and local laws closely.
What laws do you have to follow in order to be a legal gun owner in Phoenix?
To be a legal gun owner in Phoenix, you must be at least 18, 21 to buy from a dealer or carry concealed. No permit is needed to own or carry, but you can't have a gun if you're a felon under a restraining order or undocumented. Guns must be unloaded and stored in a case or trunk when in a vehicle, and you can't bring them onto school grounds or posted private property.
We're undercounted. The statistics undercount us, and they base crime based on those undercounts. We got worse credit due to redlining, and regardless of where we live, we pay more money for cars and car insurance. They claim that we are doing all the shooting because the FBI is focusing on violent crimes and ignoring property value. I've never had a violent crime done to me, but I've had stuff stolen from me multiple times, and it has yet to be from black people.